Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Lost Coast podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us, Merri Guggisberg. She's a parent coach. She's going to give us some insight on what to do and how help you parents, with your children and hopefully make them grow up to be better adults. Merri, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Corey. Honored to be with you, and thanks everyone for listening in.
Yeah, so Merri, thanks for being here, like I said, and let's give the listeners a little background on yourself and why you do what you do.
Yeah, thanks. So, MKG Parent Coach, it's my opportunity to help parents bring mindfulness, kindness, and gratitude, MKG, to every parenting situation. So, why do I do what I do? Um, I have two now adult kids, and soon to be a third. My daughter's getting married soon. Hard to believe that we're at that stage. But I was telling someone what I do and recently, and they were like, your kids seem like they were angels all along. And I'm like, well, I'm amazed that it looked like that from the outside because no, we had plenty of parenting challenges. And it's really through the research that I did and the studying and such that I was like, where is my village? Where are the people that are also challenged in raising their kids? So, what I guess I was craving was that go to person. Who is my person that, yes, we could talk about what we learned in the books together. Here's the situation. And from the research, I was in that seeking. I also worked in ministry. So for 10 years, I worked with kiddos in grade 6 through the first 4 years out of high school. Think of the brain development that is happening in that stage. And of course, coupled right with that is working with their parents. So I think I found my village there. It was parents were craving, like, Merri, I don't know how to handle my kiddo going on their first date, my kiddo getting their phone, my kiddo getting their license. And how do we be okay with these challenges? Like they're in walking alongside as their kids are gaining their independence. So moving from that role into mental health, I actually took a job as a parent educator at a mental health and chemical health prevention agency, doing tons of public speaking and giving parents tools. And these parents would come up afterwards and they were like, super helpful information. How do I take those principles you just talked about and truly apply them in my home? And that's when, again, that full circle of they too were seeking that hand in hand support. And then the nudge to become a parent coach really sparked then. Like I had this unit, this opportunity to learn all that I did from the season in ministry, these coming together and writing and presenting workshops for parents to be like, hey, I can be that go-to person to really help you show up for your kiddo. It was a
Yeah.
long story to tell you all that.
No, that was great. It reminded me, I got my 19-year-old son, you know, I always, everybody would say to me too, oh, he's so good kid, such a good kid. But sometimes when we're home, we had the struggles, but I always took it as this is where he needs to vent. This is where he needs to let loose. This is where, so when he's out in the public, he's out in the eyes of everybody else, he's that great, amazing kid. And it really hit home one time. This is a great story.
Yeah,
We
please.
were on a travel baseball team and we went to lunch at this, I don't know, it was a little burger sandwich shop, I think. And we were leaving the place and we walked outside the door and my son, who was probably, I don't know, maybe 13, 14 maybe at the time, um, actually went back and grabbed the door and held it open for these ladies walking in. And they were just so taken that they had to watch where my son went to catch up with us. And they made a point to come out to us to tell us what an amazing job we did raising this child, right? That he held the door open and was very polite. It made me feel good. But, at the same time, I'm thinking in the back of my head, oh, the struggles I'll have later, But
Yeah,
it's that give and take moment between parents and kids. I mean, I still can't even believe I have a kid, let alone anything else. So that was great. So, so give us a little bit more. So now you become this parent coach. How's this all working out for you?
yeah. So I would say the purpose of what I get to do is it's really when I get to accompany parents and have that deep, deep, meaningful connection with their kiddos. And being okay that, you know what, it is going to be bumpy. And it is knowing that the more I know how to take care of myself, that's when I have that opportunity to help my kiddo through those uncomfortable situations because life isn't easy. And I love that example you just shared. You got to see in real time your son impacting others and living the values that you have also taught your kiddos. So kudos to that.
It
So
didn't come without a lot of work, I promise.
it does. It does. You know what? It's part of what I really guide parents through is I call it the pause process. And I'll break that down for you, but it's um mirroring. It's your kiddo, you modeled for your kiddo at some point the importance of caring for others. And that could be a family value that he has really put foundationally in. I'm guessing he still does that to this day. It's not something he did 5, 10 years ago. He still does that and will do that going forward. So it was a great family value because that also is where I start when a client starts with me. And I just started a group last night. I did group coaching last night, and that is exactly where we started is family values, principles, your core foundation that you want in your kiddo, whatever word resonates with you. And then we unpack it from there because, gosh, he's 19, you just told me. That season probably went like that.
Oh yeah.
You're in the stuff, and when you're in it, you're like, oh my gosh, it's never going to end. And then you start to look back and you're like, oh, that went really fast,
Yeah.
really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like he was just born yesterday, let alone 19 now and getting his
Exactly.
first job and all this kind of stuff. It's just like amazing. Yeah.
Congrats. Congrats. And we get to celebrate and we get to support. So it's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, my oldest is moving to another state soon. Not my oldest, my youngest is moving to another state for graduate college and now starting his career job. So yeah, a lot of reflection time here in this season for sure.
I always think of myself as still a kid. Sometimes I think
Yeah,
I don't have my life together, let alone have another kid. And I'm trying to tell him to get his life together.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
kind of funny when you sit
Exactly.
back and you're looking at it. That's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So you're helping these parents. You're doing these coaching classes and stuff. What's somebody expect when they come into one of your coaching classes? What's the process? What's the step by step? Is it one to one? Is it always in groups? Kind of give us a background on the business itself.
Thank you. Yes. So I do group coaching, and my favorite though is that one-on-one. One-on-one through virtual because I've had clients all over the United States. I actually had a group that I led from London. So it is all over. It's that opportunity to learn together. Parenting sometimes feels very alone, like I am the only one struggling with. And I can give you lots of situations, but you're not the only parent who is walking in this. And when you sit in that group coaching or that individual, I get that opportunity to say, yeah, been there, and here's how we can strategize to come forward. So it's a 1 hour Zoom is what I use, platform, virtual call, and we meet, we strategize, we do parenting celebrations, and then we move into challenges. I also do a lot of mindfulness because I am a big believer that we got to put our own oxygen mask on first, which means taking care of me, mom, dad, whomever, so that we can show up. And then when we do that, then we get to model that to our kiddos. So Corey, you asked what else happens. So I also have an online course, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But first, when I'm in my coaching, I have this practice that's called pause. And it's how do we pause and step into our parenting? And of course, it's an acronym. And I try to keep it as short as possible so that when we're in the moment, whether we're celebrating or, oh my gosh, I just got a call, my kid's not coming home tonight because, like the curfew, the breaking the curfew, the whatever, we can pause. So the first thing is the letter P stands for being present. And how am I being present and just showing up in this moment, distraction free? So frequently our kids come home, whether it's now it's summer or school, and you're like, hey, how was your day? And nobody's even doing eye contact. They're not even truly present to hear the answer. So we start with being fully emotionally there, devices aside, and we're present. It teaches the values of you're the most precious thing in this moment, and I'm going to treasure it. We just said those 18 years are a blink, so we want to truly step into celebrating that moment. The easy question when your kiddo walks in the door, right, was, hey, how was your day? And moving past that superficial, that, how are you today? Fine. And then also being present for the bumpiness, because you know what? There's times when I was lucky to get a grunt out of my kiddo. And literally, I would be like, hey, what's going on? How are you? And it would be a mumbled grunt, and you would just have to try to decipher and then being okay with, how am I showing up and what do I need? So the first letter is the pause process is being present. Then the A is attentive to all emotions. And like I just said, when my kiddo was grumbling at me, I felt like I had done something wrong. I didn't know how to show up and care for him. So what did I need? And what I do, I use an iceberg. So the behavior is one thing, that's what we see above the water. And then the emotion is what's underneath. Because every feeling equals a need. And this feeling might be coming out as slamming a door or other things. And what's underneath? What is that emotion telling me? What do they need? So we really unpack that with that being attentive. Name it to tame it is another way I've tried to explain it. So P is present, A is attentive, U is understand. And this is one of my favorites because it's listen to understand, not to reply or fix. This is that opportunity to practice active reflective listening, sitting in those uncomfortable moments with our kiddo and just listen. And I preface when I am with my own kiddos, I'm like, are you just needing to get this off your chest? Or are we going to strategize and work together? And then I repeat back, is that what you really want at this moment? So it is that opportunity. So when we're in a coaching call, we literally practice that. We do role playing. And a parent will come with, this is what's heavy on my heart today. And then we get to practice. I'll be the kid, you be the parent, you be the parent, I'll be the kid. So, I said that same thing twice. I think you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, we all know it. Yeah, vice
Yeah,
versa.
exactly. Yeah, and then the S is support. Research shows all kiddos need 5 caring, active adults in their life. Well, that goes beyond you and your co-parent. So you're a given in that. So that also is making that circle of care, I call it, to include that. And brainstorming with the parent, who's in that circle? Is it your kiddo's coach? Is it a I told you I was in ministry, is it a youth director? Is it others? Is it a neighbor, family members? So we put those conversations in place. And if they can't think of it, that's part of coaching, is then we help extend that invitation. After I figured out, work together to guide the 5 caring for them, now who's in that village for you? Who is in your support circle as a parent? So super important to have that. Last letter is E, and that's we're going to explore solutions together. We know that there's bumpy situations are going to come up, and it's having that opportunity to dialogue, to brainstorm, to come together and be like, well, here's what I'm thinking, but you're coming together as a family with that. So present, attentive, understand, support, and explore. It's a great way to just step in before reacting.
Yeah, I totally agree. That support thing is a huge piece. I got, how's the saying go? It takes a village to raise a family, it's so you get
Yeah.
that support around you. I know I live in a very small town here, and if my kid doesn't look, when he crosses the street, he doesn't look both ways, somebody tells me. They pick up the phone and tell you, hey, your kid crossed the street,
Yeah.
it's such a nice place to raise a kid because they walk to school, they do whatever. And someone, if you don't know where your kid's at, someone else does at every exact moment around here, which is, it's good and bad, because in the adult world, then it means if I don't know what I'm doing, all I gotta do is ask my neighbor, they'll tell me what I'm doing.
Exactly.
But it's
Exactly.
all good. It's
Yep.
that community support that you find in different ways. You got to learn how to grab a hold of what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. And Corey, I also would say we also work on boundaries. When you're in a smaller town, we have to know the boundaries, and not everybody needs to know all of my stuff, but that's because I'm going to put my own boundaries in place and honor that. That's okay.
Yep. No, that's great. That's great. So how long have you been doing this? I mean, what's I mean, give us some good little nuggets here on maybe some families that you've helped, and
Yeah.
some kind of
Yeah.
examples.
So I started doing parent education sessions, like education sessions, over 20 years ago. My children are now young adults. I just told you that. One's getting married. So, yeah, young adults. Um, but launching and caring for the coaching, I actually got certified during the pandemic. It was so many people doing that. Merri, I need you. I need more of just, yeah, the workshop is great. And that's usually how people find me, is when they have either attended my workshops or learned about me through a referral, like, my kiddo is doing da 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 da. How can I show up and really care for my kiddo? And then someone like yourself would say, call Merri. It's that opportunity. So what I would let me tell you a story of a mom that came to me. So this mom is a school teacher, and she would come home in the afternoon after school teaching for the day, and she'd be like, hey kiddos, can you do, your chores? Can you help get dinner ready? And ended up resorting to yelling because it was just falling on mute. They were not hearing, they were not listening. So yelling to be heard, not seen, feeling like a failure because why do I have to yell? These are my children, and now they can't even like show up for me. So in the evening, she's going to bed exhausted from teaching. We know teaching is an exhausting profession. And then heartbroken because her own children aren't respecting and listening to her. So tears, anger, frustration. So working with this gal, and we start with going through family values. Why is it important for you to be seen? What is important that foundationally that you want in your kiddos? Then we move through the 5 love languages. And we talked about the giving and receiving love and the importance of modeling that, practicing that with your kiddos. We moved into deeper conversations, like how do you listen? How do you show up and practice that pause that we just talked through? And she was able to practice all of this. She started with 6 sessions with me, ended up doing 12, and then moved into monthly maintenance because she's like, yes, we've done the program, but now I want to just keep that information fresh in mind, like just have that monthly check-ins. And one call, I remember her saying, everybody is talking at the dinner table, everyone is showing up. And Merri, I'm using the mindfulness strategies that we talked about. I'm using it in my classroom, and it's working in my classroom too. What a warm of my heart to go, it rippled. It rippled beyond her nucleus out into the greater community that she gets to hang out with. So just one story of a mom who was really hard time turned.
That's a great story. I mean, because you're just proving that this process, even though you're helping parents and everything, but it can improve relationships. It can improve a lot of things down the road. So, I mean, it's a win-win for being in your process. Help your kids, help your relationships, help your community by just kind of being more presence, basically.
Exactly.
So that's
Yeah,
that's
and thank you. The other way people are like sometimes parents aren't ready to jump into true coaching. So I have a couple of ways that they could meet me. And one is I have an online course. So anyone can explore that. And Corey, I'll share that with you. And it's called Purposeful Parenting Pause. You get to really dive into the P, the A, the U, the S, the E sessions, and with aids, tools, worksheets. I don't know, what word do you want me to use? Guides that would also accompany each of those. And then there's two options. Because of listening to this podcast, we'll give you a discount to jump into that. One is you can just do the course, walk through, take those 5-6 sessions yourself, learn at your own pace, or you can jump into a call with me. So you have two options. You can do it independently, or you can schedule time with me also. So it works, and you get a discount on that.
very nice. So they can get a hold of you after doing that. What's the purposeful parenting
Pause.
pause? Yeah.
Yep.
That's a lot of peace.
I know it's a lot of tongue twister there, isn't it? Yeah. And then also, I'm happy to share. You can on my website schedule a call with me, complimentary. Jump in, tell me what's going on, and see if it's a fit for both of us.
So
parent
what is that
coaching.
website? What is that
Yeah,
website?
it's the mkgparentcoach.com. mkgparentcoach.com.
mkgparentcoach.com. All right. Well, that's good. That's probably an easy one everybody can remember to get a hold of you. So that's
Yeah, and
excellent.
thank you. And then remember, it's the mindfulness, kindness, gratitude. That's the mkgparentcoach.com. So thanks.
Yeah, it's I had another person on the podcast a while back, one of my first people, and her biggest favorite word was gratitude.
Oh, yes. Yeah. When we can embrace each day, even in the challenges, there is a lot to be learned, to reflect on and be like, what am I learning in this situation? For parents, it's that opportunity to be grateful for the life lessons that our kiddos are learning. It's so hard when our kiddos are struggling. And
Yeah.
we'll look back. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how old they are either. They're still our
Right.
kids. So
Right.
yeah.
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Merri, it was great having you on the show. Is there anything you'd like to tell these listeners a little more about yourself or your business before we go?
Yeah. The only thing is that parenting sometimes feels very isolating. Parents are not alone. It is truly meant, we're hardwired for community, and finding that community, whether it's an online community or just making that circle of care as big as you can for yourself and for your kiddo, so important. And there's support is available. I mean, kids didn't come with instructions, right? But boy, there is support available, and I'd welcome being that support with parents.
Well, that's great, Merri.
Thank
So
you.
we're going to bring this to a close, and I really appreciate you having you on the show today. This was amazing information. I'm sure our listeners will remember mkgparenting.com or parentcoach.com.
You got it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So
Thanks.
please
It's an
look
honor
up
to be with
Merri
you all
and
too.
take her up on her offer. She's got a little discount for you waiting for you. Just reach out and she'll let you know.
Thanks.
So,
Bless you, Corey. Thank you for having me too.
all right. With that all being said, everyone, we're going to be signing off here on the Lost Coast podcast. Appreciate every one of you for listening, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.